for the revision. So I hope you all have been studying well and you have revised your content very nicely, because in today's class, I'll be asking you a number of questions. We'll be discussing about chapter number 1 as well as chapter 2. Technical support team, sir, chat box, you can on for the students for the individual ones. Like, it's working, the chat box? All right. Yes, I can get the messages. Thank you, Ram, for confirming. Good evening to you. And so today we'll be starting with the revision of chapter number 1 as well as chapter 2. Since chapter 2 is very lengthy, so we are trying to cover it today itself with the smallest chapter, that is chapter 1. So children, chapter 1 preliminary is all about your basic definitions. Now, I would rather call it the easiest chapter, but when it is easy does not mean that you have to leave that chapter. In fact, you have to do that chapter very nicely. Because even if 4 marks definition comes or a 7 marks case study comes, that is directly in your pocket, because the easy chapters should be done very nicely. So we will be starting the revision from starting, that is chapter number 1 prelim. Now, how we have framed the session is that we will be asking you questions. We will be doing different MCQs as well as case studies since it's a revision. Any part where you have any doubts or you want me to take up in detail, you can raise your hands, you can talk to me, or in the chat box also, you can let us know. We will try to take that part in detail so that you understand and nothing should be left undone. So now when we start with preliminary, what is the most important definition that we have in preliminary? Sir, can you give me annotations? Ajit sir, can you give me annotations? I cannot see the annotations for the presentation. Can we use the annotations? I cannot see the annotations over here for marking on the presentation. No, it's not showing, sir. Annotations आता है ना ऊपर वहाँ ribbon पे. Okay, अजीत सर को पता होगा कैसे आएगा वो.
Yes, ma'am.
Ajit sir, I cannot see the annotations for marking on the presentation. वो आता है ना मेरे इसमें. I don't know why it's not coming.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not the host, that's why.
होस्ट निशर सर आप हो ना होस्ट?
उनको भी नहीं दिख रहा है. I'll send you. I'll send you, sir, how it is appearing in my screen. आप एक बार ही चेक कर लीजिए. Meanwhile, I'll just start. All right. So first we have the definition of associate company. Now, in this chapter, the major important definitions that what I call which show a relationship between two companies is, one is your holding and subsidiary company, and another type of control that we are trying to exercise on another company is the relationship of an associate company. Let's understand with the help of this case study. ABC has allotted equity shares with the voting rights to XYZ Limited, 15 crores, and convertible preference shares worth rupees 10 crores during the financial year 22-23. After that, the total share capital of the company is 100 crores. comment on whether XYZ Limited would be an associate company as per the provisions of the Companies Act. Also define an associate company. Now, for CA intermediate students, I would rather say that it's a very, very easy question because this is something which you have been doing in your foundation also. You have been learning the definition of associate, subsidiary, holding companies. Now, what is the tricky part over here? I cannot see the annotations, otherwise I would have circled it. The preference shares that they're showing. Do we need to consider the preference shares or not? So this is how we have to attempt the question and write it. Everybody knows, you know the answer. You can try writing in the chat box. What do you think? Are they having a relationship of associate company? Yes or no? You can use the chat box and you can answer me. Total voting power must be 20%. Mr. Ram says that. All right. Only Mr. Ram's chat box is working. What about others? You're not able to send a message? Kavya, Ishan, Miss SH, Sid, Sanghani, all of you. All right. Now, you will not just simply write that the relationship of 20% is missing or what is the percentage of relationship that they're having. First of all, the examiner is asking you define associate company. Even if you don't remember the exact section, definitions are generally given in section 2 of the chapter. So even if you don't remember that, you can simply write down as per the provisions of Companies Act. Now, what is an associate company? How will you learn the definition? That is very, very important. So two companies are having a relationship with each other. So you have to write this line in relation to another company, a company which has a significant influence in another company. Children, in law, what matters is not that you're writing in your own language, but you should at least write the legal context which is required. So you have to mention that it's a relationship between two companies in which one company is having a significant influence in another company, but it is not a subsidiary company. Why do we say that it's not a subsidiary company? What is the reason behind that? Because, ma'am, if it is subsidiary company, then how will you make it an associate company? Then we have a relationship of how much percentage? Tell me in the chat box. What is the percentage of subsidiary and holding company? I can only get the chats from Mr. Ram. I hope other chats are also working. If you're unable to message me, you can raise your hands. You can let me know. All right. So
Good evening,
50%.
ma'am.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Ma'am, any issue?
Yes, sir. I was actually looking for the annotations. I cannot see the annotations, and now I can see the chat also, thankfully. But I cannot see the annotations which I use for the presentation.
Okay. Ma'am,
I'll
we'll check
continue
and
teaching.
confirm you.
At the back end, you can just correct it. I'll continue my
Oh,
teaching.
okay, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you, students, for confirming. Now the chat box is working and I can see all your messages coming up. Yes, of course, 50%. Of Dekho, Kavya is saying 51. Akam is saying more than 50%. So that means you need a good revision for your subsidiary and holding also. Good evening, Lokesh. Good to see you in the class. All right. So associate company is having a relationship of how much percentage, children? What is the meaning of significant influence? Having the control of at least 20% of the total voting power. So we are not having a subsidiary relationship because subsidiary is 50 or more than 50. So at least 20% of the holding, if you're having, then it is known as a significant influence and it includes a joint venture. What is the meaning of joint venture? Where the parties have jointly owning the net assets of the arrangement. They have jointly set up the organization that is known as the joint venture. Yes, Ishan and Akam, absolutely. At least 20% का मतलब होता है 20 and more than 20. Then you will give that in the instant case, ABC has allotted equity shares. This briefly you have to give the facts of the case. Since XYZ is holding only 15% of the shares, which is less than 20%, therefore, they are saying it is not an associate company. You tell me what would have you written? Will you call it a relationship of associate company? Yes or no? Now, what is the problem is that at least 20% control of total voting power or participating in business decisions. Now, when this kind of question comes in the exam, then you have to see that equity shares always have a voting right. But preference shares may have a voting right, may not have a voting right. So here they are assuming. Rajvi Ray says no. So that's great. Why you say no? Because you're assuming that preference shares are not having voting rights. But on the other hand, if you write this answer that we assume that the preference shares are also the shareholders who are having voting rights, then we will say yes, they are having an associate company relationship. So convertible preference shareholders का ये नहीं है कि हम include नहीं करते, हम include में क्या देखते हैं? If I could see the annotations, total voting power को इसमें circle कर लें, ठीक है ना? Total voting power matter करता है. So अगर equity shares with voting rights है, preference shares we are assuming without voting right, then not a relationship. If it is with the voting right, then yes, it is an associate company relationship. Clear enough? Now let us see another question where we are having equity shares with voting rights and non-convertible debentures. So there is a share capital of 100 crores and non-convertible debentures that stands out to be 120 crores. Are we having a relationship of associate company? Do we need to consider the convertible debentures? So ma'am, preference shares, we write down an assumption that if they are with the voting rights, we will consider. Without voting rights, we will not. But convertible debentures are not to be considered. So same, you will give the definition of associate company. You will tell them what is the meaning of significant influence and joint venture. Facts of the case briefly will be given and you will say that they're not associate company because kitna percent holding it? 15 crores only out of 100 crores. All right, so it is only 15%. Yes, Rajbir Ray, we will not consider debentures. That is absolutely correct. So debentures will be ignored because you have to remember holding and allotment of non-convertible debenture has no relevance for the significant. So what have we revised? Two important concepts of associate company. Preference shares, if it is assumed to be with voting rights, it will be considered, otherwise not. And debentures are not considered in calculating the relationship of associate company. Now, what is the third case study? Third case study is talking about your holding and subsidiary relationship. Paid up share capital of ABS Private Limited is 1 crore and it is having 8 lakh equity shares which is fully paid up and 2 lakhs preference shares of rupees 10 each. XYZ and BCL are holding 3 lakh equity shares and 1,50,000 equity shares in ABS. So what is the total share capital? 1 crore, out of which 8 lakh equity and 2 lakh preference shares. How much shares are you holding? 3 lakhs and 1,50,000. So children, that means 4,50,000 is out of 8 lakhs or 10 lakhs? Tell me. 4,50,000 जो हम hold कर रहे हैं, that BCL and the other companies holding in ABS, that is XYZ and BCL are holding 4.5 out of 8 lakhs or out of 10 lakhs? Tell me that. Out of 8 lakhs. Very good, Ishan. Ram. Nice. So that means we are having more than 50% relationship. 8 का 50% 4 लाख होता है, 4.5 लाख हम होल्ड कर रहे हैं. Can we say that they are jointly having a subsidiary and holding relationship? Yes or no? But what is examiner asking you? You have to examine now. It further says that XYZ and BCL are the subsidiaries of TSR. Whether ABS is a subsidiary of TSR? And will your answer be different if TSR has 8 out of 10 directors on the board of directors? So why he's giving you the information about board of directors? Can anyone tell me? Was there any need of giving the definition? So in the chat box, I would want my students to tell me what is the definition of holding and subsidiary company, because it is your revision. January, you're having exams. Yes, for control criteria. No, Ram, for directors, you have another point. One is composition of board of directors. You forgot. One is controlling. You write down the definition first. What is the definition of holding and subsidiary company? So if I ask you, define a subsidiary company, how will you define? At least 50% or control of board of directors, controlling the composition. Very good, Miss SH. Mr. Rajbir Ray. All right. I will just stop the screen share and then do it again if I could see it. All right, Rajveer says controlling the board of directors. What about others? Still thinking? Controlling the board of directors. What is the meaning of controlling the board of directors? Appointment or removal of majority of directors. Okay, and 50% or more of the voting power if I am having in that company. So what will you write? First, you have to give the definition. Holding is one which has the control of another company, whereas subsidiary is the company on which the control is exercised. Even if you don't remember the literal language, at least express them. What are you trying to say? Children, writing of answers is very, very important. And law में major गड़बड़ जो आप कर आते हो, you know the context, you remember everything, but you don't know how to write the answers. That's why I see Institute is making so much effort. We are having revisionary also with you. We are doing literally writing of each and every answer so that you understand. But still, if you'll not practice, then things will not work. So pay full attention when I'm telling you about writing of the answers. So even if you're not learned the exact language, at least you should tell them that holding is having the control of the other and subsidiary is the company on which the control is exercised. So as per the law, this is the relationship that has to be followed. When one company is controlling the composition of board of directors, then the company which is controlling becomes holding and the other becomes the subsidiary company. The company will said to have the control. How do you have the control over the board of directors? What is the reason? How do you have when you appoint or remove all or majority of directors? Either you're appointing all directors or you're removing all the directors or majority, all or majority. So 8 out of 10. 10 में से majority क्या होता है? 5 or more than 5. So if you're removing at least appointing these directors, then you're having the control of the composition of board of directors. And what is the second point? Okay, now tell me, is there a choice between both the points or both the points have to be exercised? If you want to be a holding company, you're controlling more than one half of the total voting power. तो मुझे दोनों चीजें करनी है, yet there is a choice between one half of the voting power or board of directors. Let me see who answers first. Very good. SH and Ram are the only two students who are studying very nicely. So or is very, very important because option has to be given. It is not that it is compulsory for all of them. Okay. Choice, yes, either of them. Very good, Rajveer. Any one has to be there. So any one is there, then you are said to be holding company. So XYZ and BCL are subsidiaries because they're holding 4.50 lakhs out of 8 lakhs. So we conclude that they're holding majority of the total voting power through its subsidiary. Now you remember, either you're holding directly yourself or indirectly. If you can read on the second point, I'm not able to. Let me see if I can use some pointer over here. If you can read this directly or indirectly through subsidiary. All right. So this thing also matters. So even if with your subsidiary are you holding it, then also it matters. Either directly you're holding or through your subsidiaries you're holding. In either of the case, you will set to be a holding company. All right. And हमने क्या पढ़ा? More than one half of the total voting power. More than one half means 50% more than one. मतलब 50 से ज़्यादा exercises or controls more than one half. So you have to remember it is more than 50% of the voting powers. All right. Clear, everyone? And the second scenario, since he is holding 8 out of 10 directors, so majority of the composition of board of directors they are controlling, therefore also they become a holding and subsidiary. All right. Let's move to another point. Let's read this case study very carefully. What is it talking about? ABC is registered as a public company. There were 245 members and their details are given as directors, 190 employees, ex-employees. Others are 20, including 10 joint shareholders holding the shares jointly in the name of father and son. Board of directors want to convert it into private company. Now, if you're trying to convert into private company, you will think, ma'am, this is not in our syllabus, that conversion of public into private. But what are they asking you? Do we need to reduce the number of members? He simply wants to know that can we reduce the number of members? What is he trying to tell you? What is the maximum number of members that we can have? Very good. Not necessary. Rajveer, Ram, SH, excellent. Everybody has given the great answers. So similar kind of question you have in the module also, which once came in CA foundation exam. So it's a very easy question for intermediate students, but how to attempt it? First, you will give whole definition of what is a private company. In the given case, they have given the facts of the case. This should be written later on. First, you have to write that the maximum 200 members can be there. However, there are certain parties who are excluded, one who are in the employment of the company and who have in the past employment. Therefore, if we exclude them, and also what was the policy for joint shareholders? So if there are 20 joint shareholders, 10 of them are holding jointly. So they will be considered total 10 only, not 20 members. So they will only be considered 10. So 190 directors and 10 these joint holders. So you come out to be total maximum 200. So there is no need to reduce the number of members. All right. Now I have a very interesting case study for you. So we had a quick revision of public-private companies. What else you remember in public company? Can we transfer the shares of public company easily? Tell me yes or no. Can we transfer the shares of private company also easily? Yes, no, yes, no. Okay. Correct answers for all of these. Very good. Kajal, SH, Ishan. Okay, the next question is, can we issue a prospectus if we are a private company? Very good, Ishan. Akam says yes, no. Akam, in private company, we have private placement. We cannot issue prospectus. Good, Kajal. No is the correct answer. Now, this case study, can you remember what is this case study talking about? We have two concepts to be learned in this case study. One is your small company. What is the meaning of small company? If you remember, what is the definition of a small company? What is the definition of small company? And if the company has defaulted in filing the financial statements. So two definitions I want you to write in the chat box. What is small company? And what do you understand by the financial statements? Everybody will write down these two definitions. First, I want you to define small company. 4 lakhs or turnover 40 lakhs. SH, are you sure? Or hai and 4 lakhs hai wrong. Rajveer, good. 4 crores and 40 crores other than public company. Okay, Ram, that's great. So, can we say that small company is always a private company, means a company other than a public company? So what we remember that it is always a private company. It is always a private company. It can never be a public company. And then what was the limit of its shares? What was the limit that we were having? 4 crores and the turnover shall not be exceeding 40 crores. So if I'm having a turnover of 20 crores and my paid up share capital is 5 crores, will you call me a small company? Yes or no? No. Very good. Very good. No is the correct answer. If I'm having my turnover is not exceeding 40 crores, it is 40 crores only. And my paid up share capital is 3.5 crores. Will you call me a small company now? Yes, ma'am. Good. So in the given question, how much they have given? This is nice public. It's a public company. First of all, it's a public company. तो फिर तो बात ही खत्म होगी क्योंकि हमें क्या चाहिए? हमें चाहिए company other than public company. So small company is always a private company. Therefore, and now they have given you subsidiary holding relationship also. Did you read the question carefully? They have given you the paid up share capital 50 lakhs, which is 5 lakh equity shares, and turnover is 2 crores. 2 crores there, 20 crores there. 2 crores. And they said that it is a public company having the holding the equity shares of Smart Private Limited. So see, children, how beautifully the question has been drafted. They're giving you 3 concepts in a single question. And it was a 7 marks question which came once in the exam. So, when a question comes from preliminary chapter, I feel like it's an ice cream question for the child because preliminary is the easiest chapter. जिसने definitions अच्छे से learn करी हुई है, आपको revision में इसको जब आप exam से पहले बैठोगे आधा घंटा भी देने की जरूरत नहीं. Then also it's fine. Just 15 minutes flipping the pages. So what will you write? That since it is not a subsidiary company, hence it is not deemed to be public company. क्या था उसका deemed to be public company का concept? कोई मुझे याद कराएगा? If you are a private company and a public company is holding you, then this private company shall also deemed to be a public company. But since it is not a subsidiary, though it is not deemed to be a public company, therefore it remains a private company only. So since the paid up share capital is 50 lakhs and turnover is 2 crores, that is within the limit. Therefore, we can say that it is said to be a small company. Then what was the definition of financial statements, children? Private company, subsidiary of public company. Very good, Rajveer. Ma'am, I have a doubt in paid up share capital must be up to 50 lakhs or 4 crores. Okay, Mr. Ram. So when you see the latest study, you must have read that it is clearly written that 4 crore and 40 crore. So Mr. Ram, now the limits that you have to see is this limits that I've highlighted for you. This one, 40 crores and 4 crores. So this is the limit that you have to follow for your small company. Earlier you were having the limits of, earlier you were having this limit of what it is written, that it cannot exceed beyond that amount. So that is the maximum percentage amount that they have given, that जहाँ पे लिखा है ना book में as may be prescribed but maximum up till this amount. So that is now changed and they have given the fixed limit that is within the limit of 4 crores and 40 crores. Now you don't have to go into 50 lakhs figure. Okay. So now what is the definition of financial statements? Financial statements refer to your balance sheet, P&L account, cash flow statements, equity, explanatory statements, notes. But the financial statement of OPC small company and dormant company may not include cash flow statements. तो उसने आपको क्वेश्चन में क्या दिया है? उसने बोला कि this company has failed to file the cash flow statements along with the balance sheet and profit and loss account. So you have to tell them, have they defaulted in filing the financial statements? So my dear students, you will write down the definition of financial statements. You will tell them that in case of OPC, small company and dormant company, it is not necessary. Since it is a small company, therefore it is exempted. Hence, it has not defaulted. Read this answer and tell me if you have any doubts. Very good, Rajveer. Absolutely correct definition given by you. Shall we move ahead? No doubts over here? Oh, all right. Now, one important concept that I wanted to do with you is of government company. So one or two more case studies we'll take from preliminary, then we'll jump to the chapter of incorporation. Now, what is the government company? Can anyone define the government company in the chat box for me? Is it 51% holding by the government, or it is 50%, or it is more than 50%? What was the context? So in subsidiary, we just remember it is 50%, more than 50% था अभी हमने जो पढ़ा है. And what is the government company case में क्या होता है? Tell me. If you write section correctly, then follow up defining, yes, absolutely, Sean. If you even write in your own language and you're giving the sections, then it's absolutely fine. But I would, what was I saying? You will still be able to express yourself, even if you're expressing in your own words, then also it's fine. But you should not change the language of law. All right, Ishan? Means you cannot say, just a second. You cannot simply say that if it is 51% and you're changing in your own language 50% कर दिया, वो नहीं change होना चाहिए, but definitely you can express it in your own words. Not less than 51% of the paid up share capital. Very good, Ram, Kavya, everybody. Kajal has very well tried. Rajveer, Shahib, Kumar, SH, excellent. So what we have to give in this question? He is saying state government of X, a state in the country is holding 48 lakhs share of Y Limited. The paid up share capital is 9.5 crore, that is 95 lakhs. Now 95 lakhs में से 48 lakhs are being held by the government. And now Y is directly holding 2,50,000 shares of Z Limited, which is having a share capital of 5 crore in the form of 5 lakh shares of rupees 100 each. Z claimed the status of subsidiary company of Y as well as government company. Please tell them whether Z is a subsidiary of Y as well as government company or not. So if you see a question coming up like this, what you have to write is, very good. Everybody has given the conclusion also, that's great. But you'll always first define the government company, then you will define the subsidiary company. So government company relationship, all of you have answered. Not less than 51% means 51 or more than 51 shall be held by any of the governments. And subsidiary, we have already learned, more than 1/2 of the total voting power or the composition of board of directors. Either of the case, you become a subsidiary and holding. Now you have to analyze on the case study. Government is holding 48 lakh shares out of 95. So 51% of 95 is 48.45. Are they holding 51%? No, ma'am. So it is not a government company. The first conclusion हमारा हो गया, Y is not a government company. You have to write this in the exam. Then Y is holding 2,50,600. So 2,50,000 shares hold करने से ही वो holding subsidiary हो रहा है. तो yes, Z is a subsidiary of Y Limited because वो 50% से ज्यादा hold कर रहा है. तो फिर क्या conclusion होगा? वो कह रहे हैं उसका subsidiary तो है, but क्योंकि Y ही government company नहीं है, तो Z भी government company नहीं होगा. Are you understanding, children? So if you don't frame the answer in such a way, even if you write what you have written for me in the conclusion, that means you know what is the answer. Answer पता होना जरूरी नहीं है, सिर्फ पेपर में लिखना कैसे है, that is very, very important. That is whole game in your CA Foundation and CA Intermediate Law paper. Okay? Now, before financial statements, now we are getting into more complicated case studies. So we have two more complicated detailed case studies. November 2022 question paper. I have taken a question out of that. Examine whether the companies will be considered as listed company and unlisted company. So you remember the definition of listed and unlisted company? Quickly in the chat box, tell me what is the meaning of listed company. Who is defined as a listed company, and then A, B, C, तीनों का केस में बता देना listed company, yes, no, yes, no. Unlisted, unlisted, unlisted. Ram says all of them are unlisted. Are you sure? Can we lock this information? So ABC is a public company. It has listed its non-convertible debentures. So first you will give them the definition. What is a listed company? What is a non-listed company? So under the listed company means a company which is listed on the Securities and Stock Exchange. However, or it is planning to list itself. All right. But the following companies shall not be considered to be listed companies. Number one, the companies which have not listed their equity shares, or they have issued on private placement, or they are listing the non-convertible preference shares or both non-convertible preference shares as well as what? Both the categories, and they have not listed their shares on the recognized exchange, but they are listed on section 23 subsection 3. किसकी बात करता था ये? Foreign Stock Exchange. So considering all these provisions, we will say that all these companies are unlisted company. Why? Because it is listing non-convertible debentures, it is listing non-convertible preference shares. Another one is again talking about section 23(3) mein hai, but they have not listed equity shares. So if you're falling in any of these categories, then you are not a listed companies. Everybody get the same answer? Very good. Very good, Rajveer. Right? Correct. After that, we have the case study on financial statements. So we have already done financial statements. So I think we will skip this one. It is again trying to tell you have to give the definition of financial statements, balance sheet and everything. But what is it asking you? For whom it is applicable, for whom it is not applicable. So A Limited is an unlisted public company having 5 directors and 2 independent directors. B is a subsidiary carrying on the business having the paid up share capital of how much? 1.5 crores with 40 members and turnover 18 crore, and the said company is not a startup company. What is the status of B Limited? Can anyone tell me? B Limited is a subsidiary of A Limited. It is carrying on the business having the paid up share capital of 1.5 crore and the turnover 18 crore, and it is not a startup company. Can we say it is a small company? So B company is mandatorily required to prepare the cash flow statement. Provide your analysis by analyzing is B is 1%, it's small company, dormant company, or a private company. So what will you say? You'll have to give a definition. First of all, financial statements बता देना कि CFS सिर्फ उनके लिए applicable नहीं है जो इस category में fall करते हैं. All right. So now considering the preparation of cash flow statements, we have to see if B Limited falls in any of the categories. So for OPC, of companies having 40 members, how can you say it is OPC? It is never an OPC. A Limited, which is subsidiary, cannot be considered as small company, even though its paid up capital and turnover is within the limit. But it cannot be because subsidiary company को ये apply ही नहीं होता. Remember small company के case में? Yes, because it's subsidiary. Very good, Ram. Excellent, Rajveer, Ishan, everybody. So it shall deem to be a public company. Okay, it is not applicable for the subsidiary company also. And company is actively carrying on the business. Therefore, it is not a dormant company. Dormant company कौन सी होती है? What is the meaning of dormant company? What is the meaning of dormant company? If you have just set up a company and you have not done any significant accounting practices or policies from last few years, then you will be considered as a dormant company. You get the structure of dormant company means an inactive company. So it is actively doing the business, so it is not dormant company. Also, it is not deemed to be, it shall deem to be the public company, therefore it is not even a private company. Because it is not a startup company, it is a subsidiary, not being a company which is deemed to be a public company. Even if it is private in its articles, but it still become a public company. Since it is not falling in any of these categories, therefore, B is mandatorily required to prepare the cash flow statements. Interesting? Sara concept review ho jata hai. You don't even need to go into the chapter 1. You simply, if you go through this kind of presentations after you have revised, it will help you to revise the entire context. Nice. You want to do one more of related party? So who is the related party? So only one provision. You have any doubts? If you have any doubts, I can take you to the slides of related party and we can have a revision of that also. But then you'll have to let me know. Who is a related party? Summarize related party. Okay, Ram says summarize related party. So I will quickly show you a related party slide also because this is little complicated and most of the students face a problem in this one. So I will quickly show you the related party. All right, just give me 1 second. Can you see my screen? With relationship of a company. So if I am a company, my director or his relative is a related party with me. So if I am a company ABC Limited, अगर मेरा director मेरे साथ कोई business करे तो we are related party. We have a relationship. Even the relative of a director. Who was a relative? Remember relative? Relative was a person, members of HUF, husband, wife, a person who is related to another, father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister. So you have to remember the definition of a relative also. Then only you will be able to understand अगर director का father है company के साथ relationship में, it is a related party. Director का husband या wife में से कोई है, या फिर members of HUF है, they all are related party if they are having any relation directly with the company. Then we had a KMP. KMP कौन होता है? Key Managerial Personnel or his relative. So CEO, CS, whole-time director, CFO, if they are having any direct relationship with the company, they are known as related parties. Then let's assume, now I don't have annotations, so how will I write? Wait. Let's assume that we have, okay, this pen is working. There is a company ABC Limited and there is a firm ABC Associates. Now the director or manager or relative is a partner. So here my director of a ABC Limited is Mr. D. Now this director of ABC Limited is also a partner in ABC Associates. So then ABC Associates and ABC Limited will become related parties. In Hindi, अगर कंपनी का कोई डायरेक्टर किसी फर्म का पार्टनर भी है, तो ये कंपनी और फर्म आपस में रिलेटेड पार्टी हो जाएगी. Understood? So that is how related party relationship works. And same way, if a company is having, this is ABC Limited, that is a public company, and a director, Mr. D, is also a director in a private company, then this private company and public company will also become related parties. And this one is very, very interesting. If a director or a manager of a company is also a director in another public company, so यहाँ पे भी ABC Limited है और यहाँ पे PQR Limited, both are public company. How are the public companies related to each other? If director Mr. D, who is a director of ABC, is also a director of public company and he is holding more than 2% of the paid up share capital along with his relatives. So let's assume this is a director Mr. D and he is also a director of PQR Limited. The total paid up share capital of PQR Limited is 1 crore. And Mr. D is holding 1.5% of this paid up share capital and also is a director. Can you say ABC Limited and PQR Limited are related parties? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Very good. That means only Ram was listening carefully because he has only answered correctly. No is the correct answer. Rajveer, why did you say yes? Kalpana, thank you for saying no. That's great. Why did you say it? Yes, Rajveer. What relationship? How did you conclude that it is a related party? I said 1.5% I'm holding. So I need to hold more than 2%. Even if I'm holding till 2%, then also it is not a related party. 2% तक छूट है हमें. And लिखा हुआ है. दोनों चीजें mandatory हैं. Then only two public companies will become related parties. After that, if a company is having a director on whose instructions another company's body corporate, that means any company, public, private, foreign, their board of directors are acting, then also they're a related party. Again, any person on whose advice or relationship the other company is acting, they are related party. And for the last one, if you are a holding subsidiary or any relationship you have with this company, and for the same case, you're also a joint venture and you have in common these directors, KMPs or relatives, then also it becomes an associate company. However, a director other than independent director or KMP of the holding or relative. So specifically, it is other than the independent director And for the purpose of section 188, this clause will not apply to private company. This is only and only applicable to public companies. So section 2, subsection 76, clause 8 is only applicable to public company. Now you will go to that question and you will understand easily. So it says ABC Private Limited has two wholly owned subsidiary companies, D Private Limited and E Private Limited. You have to examine whether D Private Limited and E Private Limited will be treated as related parties. So a private company is having two subsidiaries, that is D Private Limited and E Private Limited. A related party means any body corporate which is holding subsidiary or associate and also having a substantial investing. What is it saying? And it is also having a subsidiary company or investing company. Now, both of them are wholly owned subsidiary. Therefore, D Private and E Private are related parties. But what have I just told you, that with respect to section 188 to a private company, it is not, this clause is not applicable. To section 188 में इनको exemption मिला हुआ है that even if you have in common the directors, then since these are private companies, therefore they will not be considered as the related party. Therefore, they will not be considered as the related party. Clear? Will we include the relative of directors in case of 2% of the paid up share capital? So, Kalpana, when we read about the 2% of the paid up share capital, it was clearly written 2% of the paid up share capital along with my relatives. So, yes, relatives have to be included. Okay. So, if I say I'm holding 1.5, my relatives, my husband or my mother, father, they are holding further 1.5 or 4%, then you will say, yes, ma'am, we are having a related party relationship. All right, clear? So well in time, we have concluded the revision of chapter number 1, that is preliminary. I hope no one has any doubts, and you asked for related party. We have discussed related party also in detail. So that's great. Now can we start with chapter number 2, that is incorporation of companies. So now children, for incorporation of companies also, I have framed number of questions that I'm going to discuss with you in the class. But if you want any specific concept, then we can go back to the presentation or maybe the summarized version from the study material also. If you want me to take up, then you'll have to tell me so that accordingly we can have discussion on those topics also. Now, incorporation of companies is a very, very vast chapter. So meanwhile, I'll start with first question, then I'll give you a small break and you can go through, flip through the pages of study material. If you have any doubts after the break, you can ask me, okay? Role of doctrine of indoor management is opposed to the role of constructive notice. Comment on the statement and the persons not being the members dealing with the company are always protected by the doctrine of indoor management. Also explain when does the doctrine of constructive notice apply. Now, you know, whenever I open up the chapter of incorporation, I feel as if a CA intermediate student feel little nostalgic because it is totally the initial part is related to your last part of CA foundation book, that is company law. आपको भी ऐसी फीलिंग होती है कि हमने बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ा हुआ है फाउंडेशन में, जो आपने पढ़ा हुआ है डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्टिव नोटिस, डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ अल्ट्रा वायर्स एंड डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ इंडोर मैनेजमेंट. इवन इफ यू फील डिफिकल्ट इन रीडिंग एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन द इंटरमीडिएट बुक, you can easily refer to, for those 4-5 pages, you can refer to CA foundation book also. It's the same because law does not change, right? So it's given in very, very easy and simpler language. Now you tell me, first of all, raise your hands and answer me, what is the meaning of doctrine of constructive notice? होता क्या है? अल्ट्रावायर्स के बारे में हम बाद में बात करेंगे. डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्टिव नोटिस, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्टिव नोटिस? एनीबडी वुड लाइक टू रेज देयर हैंड्स और स्पीक, और maybe in the chat box. Indoor management is an exemption to constructive notice. That's great, but what is a constructive notice, Ram? That's what I'm asking. Yes, Lokesh. All right, Lokesh, you can unmute.
Doctrine of constructive notice, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Lokesh.
that a member who is dealing with the company having a presumed knowledge of knowing of content therein.
All right.
Ma'am,
So what does it say? Is that MOA and AOA are dash documents? What does the constructive notice tells you? You're right that everybody seemed to know, but these are the public documents. Very good, Miss SH has written in the chat box. Okay. So very well tried, Lokesh. And why do we say that indoor management is an exception to constructive notice?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm getting confused, ma'am.
Okay. So that means you're in the right class. You need to revise. All right. Okay. Well done, Lokesh.
Thank you,
At
ma'am.
least you tried. Very good. Very good. At least you tried. Okay. We have certain answers in the chat box. So Ram is trying to write Rajveer. They're deemed to be aware, company who understand public document, SH, Ishan, they're public documents as they're filed with the ROC. Very good. Now, see, children, all of you know about this, that they are public documents, and everyone who is dealing with a company should have read it. दिक्कत कहाँ आती है फिर कहाँ प्रॉब्लम है लिखना कैसे है रिप्रेजेंट कैसे करना सो लेट्स हैव अ क्विक ओवरव्यू अब ऐसा अगर क्वेश्चन आ जाए ना 7 मार्क्स का will you feel good if you get such a kind of question in the exam? How what kind of feeling you'll have? You'll feel happy because it's a straightforward question and again related to your foundation book also. So it is the easiest question only if you have understood this concept nicely in foundation. If you have not understood earlier also and if you have not revised it now also, then you'll feel it difficult. See, Mr. Ram has honestly shared his feelings with me. Yes, ma'am, we will be happy, but we will stuck with what to write in exam. So that's great. You know, when you send such queries, that makes me feel happy to understand that we are all on the right track. So you really need to understand how and what to write. So first of all, you will explain briefly that the person dealing with the company cannot be presumed to have the knowledge of internal structure. Everything should have been properly done by the company. Now, you can start your line from here, or since he's asking you about indoor management, right? The question is indoor management is opposed to the role of constructive notice. Had I been at your place, I will first try to define the doctrine of constructive notice. Constructive notice kya hota hai? I will give them the information that MOA and AOA are public documents. Anyone who is dealing with the company is supposed to have read this. And also through an example, I can explain. However, indoor management is an exception to the doctrine of constructive notice. That is how they have started, because company cannot be assumed to have the knowledge of persons who are dealing. We cannot have the knowledge of internal proceedings. Stakeholders कौन होते हैं? जो shareholders हैं, they will not inquire whether the meeting has been convened properly. Now, how will you explain what is the name of the case law that should be given over here? इंटरमीडिएट में तो केस लॉज है ही नहीं है, सिर्फ इनकॉर्पोरेशन वाले चैप्टर में एक रेफरेंस आता है सिर्फ 2 केस लॉज का. कौन सा केस लॉ का नाम आना चाहिए यहाँ? Royal British Bank versus Turkwan, and they also call it Turkwan rule, on the basis of which it was held that even if some internal structure has not been managed properly, some meetings or resolutions were not passed, outsiders are not supposed to know what is happening inside the company. Therefore, this doctrine protects the external members, and it is told to them that whatever is happening inside the company, it is happening absolutely fine and correct. And this doctrine was made 150 years ago, and everybody is presumed to have the role of doctrine of constructive notices, that it protects the company against the outsiders, and indoor management protect the outsiders. So again, you have learned this thing when you were attending the classes with me. I have clearly told you that doctrine of indoor management provides protection to the outsiders. What will you write? It provides protection to the outsiders. My pen stops working in between. And doctrine of constructive notice provides the protection to the company. There is one more doctrine that provides protection to the company. Can you name that? कहते हैं constructive notice company को protection देता है, indoor management outsiders को. There is one more doctrine that provides construction to the company. Doctrine of ultra vires. Very good, SH. Excellent. So there are 2 doctrines, ultra vires and constructive notice, that try to protect the company. That is, if It is not the company's fault if you're entering the contract with the company which is outside the purview of object clause, that is ultra vires. If you're not reading the MOA and AOA, suppose I'm into shoe business and tomorrow Ishan comes and makes a contract with me for sale and purchase of mobile phone. Then whose fault is it? Ishan's fault or my company's fault? My directors have also signed that contract. I know I'm wrong. I should not have signed. My directors should have not signed it. But even if we have signed, we were tempted by the offer that Ishan was giving. Mr. Ram says company's fault. Why? Weren't you supposed to read my public documents? Why did not you read my object clause? Ultra vires will apply. Very good. When you contravene the articles, it is void. Okay, all right, good. I'm glad you got it now, Ram. And good, Rajbir. What about Ishan? Ishan, what do you think? Can I do the sale purchase of mobile phone business with you? No, ma'am, because you're into shoe business. My directors and my shareholders will not allow me. I cannot rectify this act also because this is doctrine of ultra vires. Something outside my memorandum I cannot do. But what do we learn in section 13? We can alter by passing an SR. तो special resolution pass करके कुछ भी हो सकता है. You can change it by passing and altering your memorandums and articles also. But as of now, doctrine of ultra vires tells us that it is void. Similarly, constructive notice tells us that you're supposed to read my documents. So it provides a safeguard to the company, and indoor management आपने लिख देना, it provides the safeguards to the outsiders because outsiders are presuming that everything that is happening inside the company is correct. Also, you will write down these 2 points in your language. What happens internal in the company is not a matter of public knowledge. Outsider will presume everything is done fine. And if not this doctrine, company could escape the creditors by denying their authorities. अब इसका मतलब क्या है? English में जो line लिखी हुई है, if not the doctrine, company will escape the creditors by denying the authority of the officials to act on its behalf. का मतलब ये है कि अगर ये डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ इंडोर मैनेजमेंट किसको प्रोवाइड करे, आउटसाइडर्स को प्रोटेक्शन प्रोवाइड करे, तो कैसे देता है ये प्रोटेक्शन? मैं कंपनी हूँ, राम ने मेरे साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करा, आई हैव बोरोड, माय कंपनी हैज बोरोड 1 crore लोन फ्रॉम राम्स कंपनी. So now my company was supposed to have a general meeting and pass the resolutions before taking this loan amount. अब राम की कंपनी को नहीं पता that I have not passed these resolutions but I have taken the loan. Then who is at fault? Is Ram's company at fault or my company? Now this passing of the resolution is the internal matter. Ram is not supposed to know that. How will he come and check inside my company whether I'm doing everything correctly or not? So here, which doctrine will become applicable? Doctrine of indoor management. Very good. Here, doctrine of indoor management will apply and Ram's company will be protected, means outsiders will be protected and my company will be held at fault. So I will have to repay that. I cannot say that I repay that. All right. Now, second thing. But there are 5 exceptions of indoor management. What are those? Knowledge of irregularity. Let's assume I have borrowed a loan from my company's director only, and that director knew that certain resolutions have to be passed. अब अगर उसे already पता है, फिर भी उसने urgency में अगर मुझे loan दे दिया, see, knowledge of irregularity means he knew that something is happening which is wrong. Still, he's giving me loan. He's not relying on the resolution. Then whose fault is it? That director's fault, outsider's fault, or company's fault? Tell me in the chat box. I'm waiting. Forgery, outsider. So, Kalpana, here we are calling that outsider as a director or the person who is having the knowledge. Say, for example, Ram's company is also having the knowledge. Then doctrine of indoor management will not provide protection to them. So it says exceptions of doctrine of indoor management means here constructive notice will become applicable. If the outsider is aware of the irregularity, then the benefit will not be given. He or she will be said to be considered as part of that irregularity. Means तुम्हें पता है तुम फिर भी दे रहे हो तो गड़बड़ है. Negligence. Now my company's accountant is telling you that I want to sell the company, I want to sell the whole company's assets to you, Anand Bihari Lal CA Foundation. Remember, we have studied this. Again, this rule will provide protection that you should make proper inquiry. Why you did not check? Why are you relying on the accountant statement? आपको मेरी कंपनी का कोई वॉचमैन बोलेगा कि मुझे कंपनी बेचनी है, तो आप उसकी बातों में आ जाओगे? तो किसकी गलती है? आपकी गलती है कि कंपनी की गलती है? 101% it is your fault because you're not making efforts, you're negligent, you're ignoring the things, you're just signing a contract without even checking, without even making a proper inquiry. And the last is forgery. It says any act done by forgery, any fake document that has been used, that is always null and void. Okay. So any document that I've signed and I'm having a forged signatures on that of company secretary, that document will be considered as void. So good, our 1 hour revision we have done of chapter number 1 is completed, and we have already started chapter number 2. I'm going to give you a small break here so that you can just flip through the pages of incorporation, and then we will continue. You can write down your queries and doubts also in the chat box. So we are taking a small break here. All right, welcome back, students. Let's proceed ahead. So, were you able to figure out any doubts from chapter number 2? All right. When no doubts, then that's great for me that I can ask you number of questions on the basis of new questions. Let's read this question. Mr. Raja, along with his family member, is running a trading business. He is developing his ideas and participating in the market. To achieve this, he has formed a single person economic entity in the form of OPC with his brother, Mr. King, as his nominee. So, children, can we have a nominee in OPC? Yes or no? Can we have a nominee in case of OPC? All right, everybody says yes, that's great. So 4th May 2020, Mr. King withdrew his consent as a nominee. Can a nominee withdraw his consent? Yes or no? Yes, Kalpana, not a minor. Excellent. Kajal, Kavya, everybody good. Can we have a person withdrawing his consent? Yes, ma'am, he can withdraw his consent. All right. Now you have to examine whether the following people who are eligible for being, since he has withdrawn his consent, so we need to appoint. Why do we need a nominee in case of OPC? Can you tell me why it is important to have a nominee? Because it is a single run person entity, and if that person is no more, there needs to be somebody who will be taking care of this OPC. So nominee is mandatory in every case. So Mr. Sham, son of Mr. Raja, who is 15 years old, can he be appointed as the nominee? Yes or no? Devki, an Indian citizen who is sister of Mr. Raj, stays in Dubai and India. And for the period ending 2nd January to 16th August, she stayed in India and then she left for Dubai. Ashok, an Indian citizen who is residing in India, who is presently a member of an OPC. Tell me the status of these 3 people. No, yes, yes. Rajbir says no, yes, yes. Ram says no for the minor. So first one, everybody is clear. No is the correct answer because Mr. Sham is a minor. Indian citizen, does it matter that whether you are a resident or not? What have we studied in the new provision? Other person who is nominee in the memorandum should have given his prior consent, and such that the person can withdraw his consent. This is fine. Therefore, Mr. King, the nominee who has withdrawn his consent by giving notice in the writing, is fine. But we have to conclude regarding the second thing. A minor cannot be a member. So Sham, being eligible to be nominated, cannot be nominated as the nominee because Mr. Sham is a minor. Only a natural person who is Indian citizen, whether a resident in India or otherwise. What is the meaning of this line? Can anyone tell me? Whether a resident in India or otherwise. And this says that resident in India is a person who has stayed in India for at least 120 days. Now, this Miss Devki, even she is not staying in India for 120 days, then also if she is an Indian citizen, she is a resident in India, she will be eligible to be appointed as the nominee of the OPC. Okay? So 120 days condition to hai, but usne kya likh diya, whether resident in India or otherwise, very, very important point. He should be a natural person, that is important. He should be an Indian citizen, and he should not be a sole member of another OPC. He shall be a nominee or sole member of OPC. He cannot be at both the places at the same time. So Devki can be appointed, although they have given you the information that she has stayed in India from 2nd January to 16th August. So 120 days से ज़्यादा दिया है उन्होंने टाइम. But अगर कम होता टाइम तो फिर भी क्या वो नॉमिनी हो सकती थी? Yes, ma'am, because the latest book tells us whether resident in India or otherwise. और otherwise का मतलब कि अगर नहीं भी है रेजिडेंट तब भी इंडियन सिटीजन है. हाँ जी है. कहीं और ओपीसी में मेंबर तो नहीं है, नहीं है तो हो सकता. Then third says a person shall not be a member in more than one OPC at the same time. Therefore, this person is already a member of an OPC, na, Mr. Ashok. he cannot be appointed as a member. So he cannot be appointed as the nominee. So sorry, you cannot be a member of more than one OPC. So, and also you cannot be a nominee of more than one OPC. So Mr. Ashok, who is a member of an OPC, not a nominee in any OPC, can be appointed as a nominee in the OPC. What is he trying to tell you? See, I am a person, Mr. A. I can be a member of one OPC. I can be a nominee in one OPC. मतलब दो जगह पर Mr. A हो सकते. So if Mr. A is a member of an OPC, can he be appointed as a nominee of another OPC? Yes or no? If Mr. A is a member of an OPC, can he be appointed as the nominee of any other OPC? Yes or no in the chat box? Yes. Very good. Everybody has given the correct answer. That's great. Understood, students? Everybody is clear about OPC concept? Shall we move ahead? Okay. Now, gradually, your questions that I've included, the first part was from Indore and Doctrine Management, Constructive Notice. Then we have revised Section 3, that is OPC. Now we will be discussing about Section 3A. Anyone remembers what was Section 3A? Please explain last point. Okay, Kalpana, I will explain you again. So last point, Kalpana, he is asking that Mr. Ashok, an Indian citizen, yes ma'am, fine, an Indian citizen can be appointed as a nominee. He is residing in India, yes, that is also good. Resident wali baat bhi hogi. But he is a member of another OPC. So let's assume this Mr. Ashok is already a member of OPC, AOPC. And now can he be appointed in Raja OPC as a nominee? This is the question. So law says that Ashok can be a member in one OPC and he can be a nominee in one OPC. If he has been a member and nominee, can he be appointed as another member as an OPC? Then he wouldn't have been appointed. But एक company में आप member और किसी और OPC में आप nominee हो सकते हो. Are you clear, Kalpana? So if what happens, why you cannot be in more than one OPC? Because tomorrow, if Raja dies, then Ashok will become the member of the OPC because he's nominee. Then he will immediately have to remove himself from another OPC. So एक टाइम पे आप एक OPC में member हो सकते हो, एक OPC में nominee हो सकते हो. But अगर कहीं death हो गई तो आप दोनों में member नहीं बन सकते. आप nominee and member हो सकते हो. Clear? And Rajveer and who else has given Section 3A reduced members? That is great that you remembered that section. That's great. Rate Limited was incorporated on 1st April, having a severe effects of depression in the economy. He's facing severe effects of depression in the economy, and due to bad financial status, most of the members have started withdrawing their holding in the company. Company had 250 members on 10th January. By 15 January, 244 members had withdrawn their holding. It's a public company or a private company? Red Limited is a public company. Does it matter if the number of members are more than 200? Will it make a difference? First of all, tell me this thing. Public company में अगर 250 members हैं, will it make a difference? No. Why no? How many number of members we can have maximum in public company? Kavya, you can be a nominee for 2 OPC, but then you should not be a member of another OPC. You can be nominee only in one OPC, not 2 OPC, Kavya. At any point of time, you cannot be a member of more than one OPC and you cannot be a nominee of more than one OPC. एक ही OPC में आप member and nominee हो सकते हो. हाँ जी. So unlimited number of members is the correct answer given by everyone. That's great. So 244 members had withdrawn. No new member have been appointed. Mr. A, an existing member, is asking for your advice. regarding his liabilities in such a situation. Or the question can be, what is the minimum number of persons to form public and private company? You have already told me 200 in private and unlimited in public. What are the consequences when the number of members fall below the minimum limit? What will happen now? So section 3A, what have we learned in section 3A? Section 3A tells us that at any point of time, the members are reduced in the case of public company below 7, in the case of private company below 2, and the company carries on the business for more than 6 months, then these people, every person who is a member of the company at that time carries on the business after those 6 months, even after knowing that the number of members are less than 7 or 2, then he will have unlimited liability. He can be liable for whole of the debts of the company contracted. So in the given situation, what has happened? The number of members, 250 members were there earlier, and now only 244 members have left. So how many members are remaining? 6 members. So minimum requirement is 7. So these members have continued beyond the limit of 6 months. So therefore, they will become severally liable for all the debts of the company. Did you notice the time period? So 244 members had withdrawn their holding. By 15th January, they had withdrawn their holding and no new member has been appointed by 15th February till date. Okay. So if during the period of 1 month, they will become severally liable for whole of the debts. So for 6 months, they have continued to work below the less than number required members. So they become jointly and severally liable. What is the meaning of severally liable? Unlimited liability ho jayegi. Okay, Dev Kumar, good. Okay, now let's move to section number 5. Yadav Product Dairy Limited has registered articles. Now the director says that the provisions of the articles regarding 4 features of the shares should not be changed unless a resolution is passed by 90% of the majority of shareholders. As per section 14, the articles can be changed by passing special resolution, but one of the directors is of the view that you cannot make a provision against the Companies Act. Please advise the company on this matter, or he can directly ask you about the entrenchment provisions. So what do you remember about the entrenchment provisions? What do you remember about the entrenchment provisions? That these are very restrictive provisions. Some articles cannot be altered just by passing a special resolution. We have tried to create a restriction. Now, Yadav Dairy is a private company and they have said that regarding 4 feature of shares, you cannot make the entry unless you have passed permission of 90% of the shareholders have been taken. So can we have this kind of entrenchment? Can we have this kind of entrenchment provision in our articles of association? Yes or no? Yes, we can have. How it can be included? Either it is included at the time when the article is more restrictive, public company to all members. Very good, Raj. Either it can be included when the company was formed or later on by passing a special resolution in case of public company. And what was the case of private company? How can you make the entrenchment provision in case of private company? Either on the formation of the company or by giving a notice to the registrar. So in case of a private company, all the members have to agree. And in case of a public company, you simply need to pass a special resolution. Very good, Kavya. In case of private company, all the members have to agree. So if you have passed this entrenchment provision, then yes, you can hold this entrenchment provision. Now 90% approval has to be taken. Then only this 4 feature of shares entries can be made. Everyone is clear regarding question number 4? Can we move to question number 5? Now, since you have done question number 4, I give you 2 minutes. Just go through question number 5 and write down your answers in the chat box. I want all the students to read this question and write down their answers in the chat box. Seems very similar. What would be your answer? Anyone who would like to raise their hands and answer this one? He has registered a private limited company. Only he and his family members are holding shares. While drafting the articles, he has said that Shamlal will remain the directors for lifetime. Mr. Mehra has warned him that in future, if 75% of more shares are held by non-family members, then by passing a special resolution, articles can be amended and Shamlal can be removed from the post of director. Please advise him for protecting his position as a director for lifetime. Can you try to protect him so that he is a director for lifetime? Yes or no? So here comes the role of your entrenchment. Section 5 of the Companies Act says, yes, you can include the provisions for the entrenchment where you are making more restrictive conditions, that not just by special resolution conditions can be met, only by passing an articles of association can be altered only by passing a special resolution, but the entrenchment makes it difficult to change. So entrenchment is trying to give protection to some. Therefore, this entrenchment can be included at the time of formation or later on, we have just read, by amending the articles by all the members or by passing a special resolution. Also, the notice to the registrar has to be given that we have included this entrenchment provision. So what will you conclude? You will tell them that in the said situation, the IT startup company is a private company. Shamlal can get the articles altered by all the members. And also he can say 95% of votes are cast in the favor of the resolution and give the notice to the same to the registrar. So he can get the articles altered. Since it's a private company, all the members will have to agree, whereby the amended article will say that we can be removed only if 95% of votes are cast in favor. See, you cannot say that possible hoga hi nahi, aisa ho hi nahi sakta. Yes, Rajveer, he will have to apply for entrenchment by all the members, and also he has to deliver this entrenchment with the ROC. Why do you need to tell ROC? Because everything has to be reported and told to the ROC. Now I have amended my articles. Please post this. You have to inform ROC about any changes made in the MOA and AO. Is it clear to everyone? But if I say that just make this entrenchment that I can never be changed, I will only be the director. ऐसा नहीं है. वो क्या कह रहा है आपको? Entrenchment का मतलब क्या है कि special resolution? पहले तो मुझे ये बताओ special resolution क्या होता है? How many percentage of shareholders should have been agreeing for passing a special resolution? 3/4. That is 75%. Right. What is ordinary resolution? At least 50% of the percentage of the voting power shareholders have agreed. So if 50% have agreed, then it is a ordinary resolution. 75% should have agreed, then it is a special resolution. Now he said special resolution 75% agree हो जाएंगे, but इसको more restrictive बना देते हैं. Let's say 85%, 90%, 95%. So any choice you can give them. You're just trying to create a restriction कि 95% लोग हाँ करेंगे, तभी श्यामलाल को डायरेक्टर से चेंज करा जाएगा, वरना श्यामलाल ही डायरेक्टर है. Is that clear? So we are trying to give a protection to one of the members by including the entrenchment. Now, another part of the chapter, we are going to section 7. So gradually all your sections are being revised. That's what I said, Rajveer, 100%, then you're not including entrenchment. You cannot just change the things. All the members have to give a consent. You can, but maximum whatever depends upon the company that you're running and how the shareholders are reacting to that. See, you yourself wrote an entrenchment provision can be added by getting consent of all the members. So there you need a consent of 100% members. So if they say that, okay, fine, you can make this entrenchment, then go ahead for that. But if you see the general scenario, then we just try to make a restriction. At least 2-3% of the shareholders can have their own say. Okay. Ram, along with his brothers, got registered in the state of Telangana by furnishing false information knowingly. Now, if you have incorporated a company by giving false information, what are the powers of the tribunal? Again, can you remember that you have done similar questions, CA Foundation, incorporation of companies? So if you have incorporated a company by giving false or incorrect information, then what actions can be taken? First of all, you will be liable under 447. Remember, and tribunal will pass such orders that it think fit. It will make your liability unlimited, it will remove the name, or will pass the order for winding up. Before passing these orders, reasonable opportunity of being heard has to be given. Also, the promoters and directors shall be made liable under section 447. Clear? Everybody? Question number 6. I hope no doubts in this one. Question number 6. I hope no doubts in this one. Question number 7. One of the matters in the demand foundation said that the company incorporated under section 8. जल्दी से मुझे बता दो section 8 companies कौन सी होती? We have done section 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we are doing section 8. So entire chapter of your incorporation is getting revised with the help of all the sections being undertaken. But if you'll keep sleeping like this, you're not responding. This is your revisionary. I can see only 3-4 children who are actively participating and responding. Yes, charitable institutions, non-profit. Very good, Rajveer and Kalpana. Excellent, Kavya. Good, Mr. Ram. Nice. So what do you remember about Section 8 companies? Let me take your test. At least 5 points regarding any 5 points that you can recall. It is for non-profit. That's great. Right. Not paying dividend to its members. Prohibits on the payment of dividend. Very good. Promoting art and science. Excellent points coming up. What else? No use of word limited or private limited. Dev Kumar. Very good. What else you remember in Section 8 companies? Utilizing the profit for promotions, prepared non-profit financial statements. Very good. Very good. Nice. Do more brainstorming. It is your revision. You should see how much memory you have stored in your brain. I'm helping you to revise your content. So do it right now in the class. Cannot issue shares. Okay. Can't alter AOA, MOA except central government's. Very good. Mr. Ram, central government's approval is required. License is required for its working. Revocation of license happens if it tries to defeat its purpose for which it has been formed. Now, since you have done Section 8 companies revision, now let's read the question. And paper में भी ना जब आपको ऐसा कोई question आएगा ना, 1 second के लिए आंख बंद करके वो पेज पे चले जाना है, रिवाइज कर लेना है उस पॉइंट में सेक्शंस में क्या लिखा हुआ था. Students, I just want to tell you one thing. If you have really put in a lot of hard work, you have really done your studies nicely, you will remember the answers in the exam, no matter what happens. Even if it is the toughest of the question, you will do well. So don't always keep thinking that paper अच्छा नहीं हुआ, पुराने बच्चों ने ये बोला, paper tough था ये वो. Think about what efforts are you making for the exam. Are you making a timetable and studying? Are you regular with your books? Is your work completed? Are you attending the regular sessions? अपने आप को self analysis introspection करा करो कि मेरी तैयारी कैसी. और अगर आपकी तैयारी अच्छी है, आपने अपना 100% डाला है, you have made your notes, you're revising, you're learning, you're paying attention when the teachers are taking your class, 100% you will clear your exams. That is my promise to you. So trust yourself, keep yourself highly motivated that yes, I'm going to do it. Yes, I will recall all the answers. I'll not forget anything. When we are studying, we do have this kind of feeling that I might not remember. Like I'm asking you, some children are still thinking, should I write or should I not write? Maybe मुझे नहीं याद आ रहा, बाकी सबको याद आ रहा है. ये feelings आती हैं. It's normal to get these kind of feelings. But that's why we are having a revision. That's why it's called revisionary class. So when you do the class once, you revise it again, then you do your homework, whatever the teachers ask you, definitely it gets fed in your exam. All right? So always be positive about your studies and keep doing it nicely. Was given, alteration was opposed by Edward and Company, a partnership firm, that this alteration is not valid. Can a partnership firm be a member in Section 8 company? Yes or no? Yes, ma'am. Partnership firm can only be a member of Section 8 company. Okay, good. So what does it try to tell you? That any company which is registered under Section 8 cannot alter its articles except with the previous approval of central government. Very good. Now this power has been delegated to ROC. नहीं भी पेपर में याद आया तो आप central government की approval भी लिख कर आ सकते हो. Okay, a firm can be a member, therefore, the members of Articles of Dhiman Foundation was altered by passing a special resolution, therefore, intimation was given to the registrar. So, as per the provisions, it is necessary to take the approval of ROC for the same, which was not done in the present case. Hence, the Dhwaj contention is right, and also he can be a member, and hence, Dhwaj company can be its member. तो obviously अगर उसके member है the person any alteration is being done, resolution has to be passed, his contention has to be taken. Therefore, Dhwaj company contention, whatever they are holding, that you have not taken the approval, it is correct. One-liner answer tha, but you have to represent it in this way. Okay, now another question I have for Section 8 companies only. A group of individuals intend to form a club namely Budding Pilots Flying Club, as limited liability company to give classroom teaching and aircraft flight training to train the pilots. It was decided to form the limited company for charitable purposes for a period of 10 years, and then the company was dissolved and surplus of the assets will be distributed among the members as a usual procedure. Discuss the feasibility of the proposal and advise the promoters regarding the same. So Section 8 companies is formed for a period of 10 years, and after dissolving, they are distributing the surplus among the members. Can they do that? What do you suggest? So you have to tell the definition of Section 8 companies. You will first tell them that its objective is to promote the art, science, and education, research, these kind of things. So if it is for promotion of education, then it's fine. But it should only use its profits for promoting the object and cannot pay the dividend. Also, central government will give the issuing of license to these companies as a limited liability. What decision they have taken to form a limited liability for 10 years and now they have dissolved. So this is your summary of the question that you have taken. Among the members, this will not hold good because there is a restriction out in point B regarding application of the profits. There is a restriction in supplying the surplus assets in the event of winding up given under subsection 9 of section 8. Therefore, this proposal is not feasible. मतलब एक लाइन का आंसर था और 2 पेजेस में हमने लिखा क्या आंसर था इसका कि प्रॉफिट्स के लिए यूज करना है आपने सिर्फ कैन नॉट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द एसेट्स टू द मेंबर्स वेरी गुड राजवीर रे राजवीर एंड राम आर गिविंग वंडरफुल आंसर्स वेरी गुड yes of course IEPF account also but Rajveer you don't need to mention this point to them. Please explain again Kalpana Rani. Okay Kalpana, good that you have asked a question. So Kalpana, here in this question what are they trying to tell? They are saying that you have formed a Section 8 company, you have formed a club for charitable purposes. Now, what is the role of Section 8 company, Kalpana? That whatever profits that they have earned, they will be using for promoting of its objective and they will not pay dividend. Dividend का मतलब क्या होता है? प्रॉफिट में से शेयर होल्डर को हम कुछ हिस्सा देते हैं, वो डिविडेंड्स एंजॉय करते हैं. बट क्या सेक्शन 8 कंपनी डिविडेंड देती है? यस और नो कल्पना? आंसर मी. नो मैम. सो देन can you use the profits now the company is winding up? So what is your purpose? Whatever surplus assets are, you should be using it for the winding up and the dissolution of the company. You cannot use it for your own personal benefits. If you want, I can take you to subsection 9 of section 8 companies. Do you want to see what is written in subsection 9 of section 8 companies? All right, let me just show it to you. Good, we'll have a chance to see the study material also. And children, others also keep asking your doubts in between because this session is specifically designed for you people so that you can clear your doubts, whatever you want to ask. We were in section 8 company, right? This all we have revised, constructive notice, indoor management, all these 3 points. So this is what central government's power has been now given to regional directors. A revocation of license, winding up, amalgamating. I hope no doubts over here. Summary of section 6, subsection 6 to subsection 11 of section 8. Contravention, license revoked. You are merged with your similar objective companies. Winding up, surplus assets are transferred to this. This is your subsection 9. Either your funds will get transferred to insolvency and bankruptcy funds, or you will get merged with another section 8 companies, or you can amalgamate yourself. You can no chance take your profits home. You are only trying to transfer them to the insolvency and bankruptcy funds. All right. They have not mentioned subsections over here. Generally, a subsection 9 is this point. Also, the words limited and private limited can be put in by the central government depending upon what kind of company you have become. Clear, sabko? They have not used subsections, so good enough for you, so that you don't, anyways, you don't have the subsections. Now, next question in front of you on the screen. Question number 9. Dinesh incorporated a new private limited company under the provisions of Companies Act and wants to commence the business immediately. Can anyone tell me what is the procedure for commencement of business under section 10A? After section 6, 7, 8, we are now jumping to section 10 and 10A. Raise your hands and tell me about section 10A, commencement of business. Excellent, Mr. Ram. Filing with the ROC in 30 days and declaration to be given by the directors within 190 days. Are you sure 190 days or it's 180 days? To the ROC verified by CA. Very, very important. Is it only CA or it can be CS, CMA also? All right, let's read. So the mistake that you have made is 180 days. It's okay. Company section 10A tries to tell you that company will not commence, company having a share capital, okay, will not commence the business unless a declaration has to be filed within a period of 180 days from the date of incorporation, and every subscriber has paid the value of the shares agreed. Company has filed with the registrar a verification of the registered office. If all the requirements have been complied, then only commencement of business can be done. A registrar has to be filed with a verification of its registered office under section 12. Do you remember and recall what is the meaning of section 12? Section 12, yes, 180 correct now, Ram. Good. What is the meaning of section 180? Sorry, not section 180. Section 12. What is the meaning? Registered office clause. Very good, Kajal. What have you learned in registered office clause? Excellent. All of you have answered it correctly. Registered office clause, we have learned about the situation clause, if any changes have to be made, what all procedures have to be followed. So here he's simply talking about, we were on question number 10, right? 9. So here you have to tell the registrar that the verification of registered office has also been done. There is no need to write the sections and subsection, but simply 180 days direct declaration signed by chartered accountant. If these points are written, then your answer is absolutely fine. Clear, Em? Now comes your clauses related to registered office for which you have been waiting, section 12 and 13. most important sections of this chapter. XY Limited has its registered office in Mumbai in the state of Maharashtra. For better administration convenience, the company wants to shift their office from Mumbai to Nasik within the state of Maharashtra. What formalities have to be complied under the provisions of Companies Act for shifting of the registered office as stated above? Now, this is your question which you have to answer me because it's a very, very important topic of this chapter. Shifting of the registered office. If you can recall. So I'll ask you certain questions. First of all, the first scenario that I wanted to ask you is, if you are shifting your office, say for example, ABC Limited is placed in, having its office in Mumbai, and they are shifting their office within the same city, town and village. मुंबई में है, बांद्रा में है, और कहाँ पे शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं? कोई नाम बताओ सिटी का. यहाँ पे भी वही कर रहे हैं, नासिक में, सेम स्टेट में है, महाराष्ट्र में ही है. What is required to be done? First of all, any such change which is being made, board resolution will be required and give the notice to ROC within 30 days. Even if you have not previously studied it well, you can make your notes now. Within the same city, town, village. All of you agree with me? Board resolution will be passed and within 30 days, you need to inform the ROC. Is there any need of passing a special resolution? Yes or no, if you're shifting within the same city, town and village? No, ma'am. Very good. Excellent. Second is the scenario. If you're shifting outside the local limits of your city and town and village, then again, board resolution is mandatory in all the cases. SR will be passed because board of directors have to be informed. No? SR will be passed and 30 days you need to give notice to the ROC. Everybody is clear. The first case is within the same city. Second is within the same local limits. What is the third case? When your ROC is shifting from one place to another. You're in the same state, but your ROC has shifted. So Bombay has, Maharashtra has two ROC. One is Mumbai and one is in Pune. So state is same, but you have two ROCs. Then what is required? Tell me, children. What all approvals are required if you're shifting your ROC? Number one, board resolution. Number two, special resolution. Whose approval is needed? RD's approval, regional director. To which ROC you are shifting. From the ROC that you are shifting, RD's approval is required. And this RD's approval is required within 30 days. Company files the same in 60 days with ROC. And ROC will further certify it in 30 days. So how do you have to remember this one? Just a second. Remember, children, if you are shifting your ROC, then BR, SR and RD's approval, plus what else is needed? Within how many days the RD's approval has to be filed with the ROC? 30 days and then $60 days? Yes, and then next 30 days. Now, section 13. What does section 13 talks about? Since we're revising, first we'll revise and then we will go back to the questions. Very good, Kalpana, Rajveer. Everybody who is answering along with me. Very nice. And if we are changing the state only, let me just clear the screen. So I'm glad when annotations were not working, at least we have found out something, which is even more interesting. Okay. If we are changing the state only, Now I'm shifting myself from Maharashtra. I'm going to Punjab. I have been in the center of the country, city, India. Now I want to be on the northern side. I'm shifting my office from Maharashtra to Punjab. Again, board resolution is required. Now I'm talking about Section 13, children, where the state is changing. Board resolution, special resolution is required. CG's approval is required. Now has been delegated to the regional director, because CG is not that free to just take care and every company is coming and approaching the government for this. We have now delegated this power to a regional director, and he will give notice to the ROC of both the companies. And excellent, it is how many days? 60 and 30 now. Very good, Kalpana. So here you have the approval. Yes, for the fresh certificate of incorporation. Very good answers. So here you have the approval. Within 60 days you'll get, and further 30 days. In the previous one, where the ROC is changing 30, 60 and 30, and here you have 60 and 30 days. Everybody recalled it nicely. So it's very simple if you have learned it nicely. Okay, now let's see what is happening over here. Read the answer. All right, clear everyone? So here, since the location of the registered office is only the state of the registered office is situated, is shifted, change in the address does not result in the alteration of memorandum. Therefore, Section 13 will not apply here. We are only dealing with Section 12. The change in the office from one town to another, special resolution will be required, and you need to inform the ROC. There is no need to seek the changes from the regional director. समझ आ गया सबको? फर्स्ट पार्ट जो हमने करा था विद इन द सेम सिटी एंड स्टेट अगर हो रहा है तो वही एप्लीकेबल. नाउ आई हैव डिफरेंट केसेस फॉर यू. So read it and tell me your answers. If the registered office is in Thane, local limit of Thane district, to Dadar, you're shifting in Mumbai district. Both the places are within the jurisdiction of Mumbai. What will you pass? By passing special resolution and without obtaining RD's approval. Do you need RD's approval in the first case? Okay, Rajveer and Kavya says no. Everybody says no. Kajal, Kalpana, Ram, very nice. So since no approval of RD is required, it is the same case within the same city, town, village. You're shifting. No approval of RD is required. Accordingly, the said proposal is valid. Second case, RO is situated in Mumbai, Maharashtra, within the jurisdiction of Registrar of Mumbai, Maharashtra, whereas the corporate office is situated in Pune, within the registration of the Pune. So A Limited proposes to shift its corporate office from Pune to Mumbai by passing a board resolution. सिर्फ board resolution, पुणे से मुंबई शिफ्ट कर रहे हो, रजिस्ट्रार भी चेंज हो रहा है आपका. Earlier you were Maharashtra registrar, now you have Pune. What all is required? ROC is shifting. So here talking about the shifting of the registered office only. Office is being shifted, board resolution. Under the board resolution, it is valid. Everyone clear about the second point? Special resolution and RD's approval will be needed. Absolutely correct. And if the registered office is situated in the same city, is proposed to be shifted within same local limits, then third case board resolution is fine. But for the second case, children, we will need the authority of RD also. Okay, it is not just the BR is valid, you have to need the, so correct answers given by all of you. Central government की power of RD को delegate होगी, that will be required. Let's move to question number 12, and then I'm going to give you a small 5 minutes break for a breather just to go through all the pages, and then we will complete section 16, 18, 19, 22. Vintage Security Equipments Limited is a manufacturer of CCTV cameras. It has raised 100 crores through public issue for starting one more unit of CCTV camera. It has utilized 10 crore and then realized that the existing business has no potential for expansion because government has reduced the custom duty on import of CCTV camera. Hence, imported cameras from the China are cheaper than its own manufacturer. Therefore, they want to utilize the remaining amount in mobile app development business by adding a new objective in the memorandum. Can the company change the objective? If not, then advise them. What will you say? What steps are to be followed? Yes, ma'am. In CA Foundation, we learned about doctrine of ultra vires if you amend the memorandum object clause. But now we have learned about this thing that. Yes, sir. Ajit sir, you want to say something?
On the basis of that, it will help us find out the custom fee.
All right. So now we have clear-cut information that under Section 13, any prospectus, any information of the object clause can be changed by passing a special resolution. So it says, according to Section 13, if company has raised its money through prospectus and any unutilized amount is there, then what are the three important provisions that you have to remember if you're changing your prospectus by passing a special resolution? What are the three things that you need to remember? You have to take care of the creditors. Special resolution will be passed, and this resolution will be circulated in the newspapers, one in the English and one in vernacular language. Also on the website, it will be placed. And dissenting shareholders. Who are dissenting shareholders? Those who are not happy with your object clause changes. We were happy that you were doing this business. Now you're changing, and our amount is still left unutilized. So please give us an exit offer. We want to leave your company. We don't want to continue. So as per SEBI regulations, you have to give this right to the dissenting shareholders to leave the company because they are no longer happy with your change in the object clause. Now, this special resolution that you have passed, you have to get it filed with the ROC. He will certify it within a period of 30 days and then the alteration will be effective. So object clause के लिए आपने कितना याद रखना है? सिर्फ 30 days है. जब आप register office change करते हो, तब आप 60 days, 30 days वाला याद. Question number 12 is clear to everyone. Any doubt still here? Very good, Rajveer. Good answers given by you, Kavya, everybody. Kalpana, Ram, nice. Okay. Shall we do question number 13 also? Manglu and friends got registered a company in the name of Taxman Advisory Private Limited. Taxman is a registered trademark. After 5 years, when the owner of trademark came to know about the same, it filed an application with the relevant authority. Can the company be compelled to change the name of the owner? Can the owner of the trademark request the company to change its name? Anyone can recall which section is applicable when the registered owner is trying to make an application for changing the name? Now, section 16 is an important concept and I wanted to take it up with you from my presentation also. Rectification in the name of the company. So it's a little complicated the way it is given. Yes, very good. Rectification will be done. No, it cannot be complied. Section 16 is applicable. Excellent, Kajal and Rajveer. So section 16 is one section which the students feel a little complicated. So let's read it from the book also. When the central government, again, this power has been given to RD, if they find that the name is identical or nearly resembles on their own or on the application made by the proprietor. So what does law say? Either on their own they have found, suppose your company's name is Zomato and Helene ma'am made a company with the name of Tomato. So Zomato, Tomato are somewhat similar. So RD thought that on their own that Helene is doing something गड़बड़, Zomato, Tomato same name. या फिर Zomato वालों ने मेरे against complaint कर दी because same trade name that they filed an application. Then what will happen? They will direct the company to change their name. Company will change the name within a period of 3 months after passing OR. Change of name में section 16 में OR है. Application can be made by the proprietor within 3 years of incorporation. Now, where have you studied this kind of provision? When you do LLP, we have similar kind of provision the way we have done in section 16. We have a similar provision in LLP also. अब ये जो सेक्शन सिमिलर होते हैं ना बेटा 2 चैप्टर्स में, वो अच्छे से करा करो क्योंकि वो आपके लिए अगेन इजी हो जाता है because you're covering both the parts. So the company, after changing its name, will give a notice to the RD within a period of 15 days, and these changes will be passed. And after that, what will happen? If company fails to comply with the provisions, government will allot a new name, and they will have to enter this new name and will be given a certificate of registration. Subsequently, instead, you can change the name according to provisions of section 13. You keep doing changes whatever you want to do. Is that clear? Section 16 is clear to everyone? On the basis of the same, we will do this answer now. Yes, we have 3 years criteria. Excellent, Ram. That is how you correlate the things, no? So you will write down that a company has been registered in the opinion of central government. The name is identical. It will direct them to change the name by passing ordinary resolution. Within 3 months, the name has to be changed. Trademark registrar can make the application only within the period of 3 years. So same time period in LLP also, Ram, we have 3 years criteria. So 3 years criteria बच्चा वो है कि 3 साल के अंदर अंदर, अब आपको जोमेटो वाले अगर मेरे अगेंस्ट कंप्लेंट फाइल करेंगे तो 3 साल के अंदर अंदर कर सकते हैं. उसके बाद 3 साल में उनको पता लग गया तो लग गया, नहीं तो फिर वो नहीं सेक्शन 16 में रेक्टिफिकेशन नहीं करवा सकते. And जब ये पास हो जाएगा ordinary resolution, then within how much time you have to change? Within 3 months, company will give the notice to the ROC along with the central government. Within how much time period? Within 15 days of this change. And any default you made, you will be punishable. Any doubts still here? So in the given case, owner has filing the objection after 5 years, which is wrong. He should have filed within 3 years. Hence, company can change its name anytime by passing a special resolution with the owner of central government. If owner of the register requesting and the company accepts the same, then again it can change the name as per the provisions of section 13. So voluntarily they can do it, but as per the law, legal provisions, only within 3 days clear. So I hope you're enjoying the revision, students. How is your response? Are you liking the revision? Are you able to memorize the concepts? Are you able to recall when I'm showing you the questions? क्या आपके दिमाग में आ रहे हैं sections? Are you understanding? Tell me. Yes? All right. Good. Thank you, Rajbir. I'm glad that you're enjoying the session. That's great. So, any other doubt you have in this topic? Because I have. Okay, Ram says I found preliminary easy and second I have to revise more. So good, Ram, but you have been answering very nicely. So that's great. Very nice. What about others? Kajal, Kavya, they have been regularly answering. So that's great. So now few more sections are left with you to be done. Before we proceed ahead, I wanted to do a revision of section 19 also from the register because it's from the book, because it's again a very, very important section. So alteration of articles, we have already done section 14. We have done section 15 from my books. We have done section 12 in detail from the questions. So this is that chart that you all have to remember, 30, 60, 30, and there only 60 and 30. Commencement of business, we have already discussed. A declaration has to be filed. Period of 180 days is important. Section 18. What is the meaning of Section 18? Conversion of companies which are already registered. So you can alter the memorandum and you can file this alteration with ROC, and you can change yourself from the companies. When you convert yourself from one company to another, you have to do this kind of implications, but no effect on the debt liabilities incurred before conversion. Means if I am a public company and I have taken loan from banks or I have incurred certain debts and liabilities, after conversion also, if the registration has not been done, any liability that has been incurred will not be affected. Means I simply have to pay it, then only I can be converted. Now comes your section 19, which is a very, very important section. Okay, Kavya has written, I found where I'm weak. So that's good. That's nice. Great. So as per section 19, a subsidiary company cannot hold the shares of its holding company. There is a prohibition. What is the prohibition? He's trying to tell you that if you're a subsidiary company, how do I become a subsidiary company? We had a revision of the chapter number 1 also. If a company is holding more than of my 50% shares. So can I, a subsidiary company, also hold the shares of holding company? It is not allowed. Any allotment of shares in a holding company to its subsidiary is void. ऐसा allowed ही नहीं है, void माना जाता. The holding company is a guarantee or unlimited not having share capital. The above restriction will apply to the holding company wherever is the interest. But there are certain exceptions to this rule. So section 19 clearly tells us that subsidiary company not to hold the shares in the holding company. But there are 3 exceptions. What are the 3 exceptions? Can you write down the words in the chat box? As a legal representative, as a trustee, and before it became its subsidiary company, it can hold the shares in its holding company. 3 words अगर किसी को ये वाले याद आ गए ना एग्जाम में, then that's great. You simply have to remember these 3 words. Very good, Rajveer. Right to vote at the meeting of holding company only in respect of the shares held as legal representative. So if you're legal representative of the holding company of a deceased member, if you're holding the shares as a trustee for them, then you can vote at the meeting, you can hold the shares. But this will not apply to the case of subsidiary company which is already having its shares at the commencement of the act. So if you have already held, then you cannot. But if you have held it before you became a subsidiary, suppose I am a company HK Limited and I was holding the shares in holding company and later on I became the subsidiary of that company, then it is allowed. So RPIP Limited has invested 51% in the shares of SSP Private Limited on 31st March. SSP has been holding 2% of the equity since 2013 and cannot increase its equity beyond that 2% on and after 31st March. However, it could continue to hold or reduce its initial 2% stake. Means अगर आप पहले से hold कर रहे थे ना shares, तो कोई बात नहीं, आप continue कर सकते हो hold करना. Right? So I have revised this concept with you. Now I'm going to take your test. I'm going to give you one question, which all of you have to write it down in the chat box carefully. Read the question carefully and write the answers in the chat box. Everyone is going to write that. Very nice. I have found 5 answers. Excellent, Rajveer, Devkumar, Ram, Kavya. Very well tried. So S is holding 60% of the paid up share capital. One of the shareholder has donated 10% of his shares and 50 crores to the trust. He appoints S Limited as the trustee. All the assets of the trust are held in the name of S Limited. Can a subsidiary company hold the shares in its holding company? So he's not directly asking you a question. Very good, Dev Kumar. He's giving you a case study and asking you a direct question. So he asks you that what is Section 19? You will write them. You will tell them that the subsidiary company cannot hold the shares. Any allotment done to the subsidiary company is void. However, there are 3 exceptions. Give them the exceptions of legal representative, trustee, and even before becoming a subsidiary. So one of the shareholder has transferred his shares as a trust. Here the shares are being held as a trustee, therefore it continues to hold, but it will hold the shares only in the capacity of trustee. Therefore, we conclude that S Limited can hold the shares in H Limited. अब समझाने वाली बात यहाँ पर ये है कि हम पेपर में क्या कर कर आएंगे. हम पेपर में यहाँ पे सिर्फ ये वाला पार्ट लिख कर आ जाएंगे जो कि it's not allowing me to show. Yeah, in the given case. No, that's wrong. You have to give the entire provision first. First, you will give the provisions, whatever are the provisions, this word legal representative, trustee. And before he became a shareholder, if these words are written, then only your marks will be given to you. And then you give the conclusion of this answer. But if you only write this point, and if it is 3 marks question, you will get 1 mark. If you have written all these 3 points, if you only write this thing, and then you write these 3 conclusion, then you get 2 marks. But if you write these 3 points also and this heading and conclusion, then you get 3 out of 3. So it's very important that you clearly express yourself what you're trying to tell them the answer about. We have done section 16 also. Now one last question that I'm going to test your knowledge. The board of directors of Sindhu Limited want to make some changes and to alter the articles which are to be urgently carried out, which include the increase of the authorized share capital, issue of shares, and increasing the borrowing limits and increasing the number of directors. What are the provisions to be followed for altering the articles? Do you remember of increasing of the share capital? Even when we do the chapter of share capital, we have a quick revision of all these borrowing limits. But can we alter the articles? Tell me yes or no. What all you remember in this? Question number 14 is again related to section number 14. I've given you the hint. Yes, I'm waiting for your answers. What will you write for this? Yes, feel free to refer the books and then also you can open the book and tell me the answer. Who is going to raise their hand and tell me the answer for this one? Can you alter the articles? Yes, Lavanya, Lokesh, Dev, Kavya, Kajal. Who is going to answer this one? Yes, ma'am, we can alter the articles. Good. By passing a SR or OR? Special resolution. Okay, good. Rajveer, Ram, great answers. So children, you will write down section 14 of the Companies Act over here. He is directly asking you about section 14. First of all, you will tell them that the alteration can be made by passing a special resolution. All the provisions of the Act and conditions of memorandum, by passing a special resolution, you can alter your articles. This alteration has to be filed with the registrar within 15 days. Any alteration will be valid and it will be considered as if it was originally contained in the articles. Also, alteration should be noted in every copy. Every alteration shall be made. If a company makes a default in complying with this, what is the penalty? It says 1,000 rupees for every copy of the articles issued without such alteration. Is there any maximum limit for this penalty under section 15? Is there any maximum cap limit? So it says 15 alteration has to be made, SR has to be passed. Within 15 days, you need to sign this, and 1,000 for every default you will be liable. So I'll show you section 14 once from here also. Since we have done all the sections so nicely, why to leave section 15? Let's have a run through that also. Can anyone tell me the page number for section 14? This we have done in detail. Section 6 to 8 is very easy. Doctrines we have discussed. Yes, Rajvi, that's nice. You can do like that also. But 15 days, 30 days वगैरह ठीक है, याद है तो लिखते ना. अगर नहीं याद आता तो बिल्कुल सही आप prescribed limit लिख सकते. Page number 54, right? Yes. Thank you. So alteration can be done by passing special resolution. Application can be made within 60 days. And 15 days वाला alteration ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है बताना, that you have to file the changes within 15 days with the ROC. And this is the alteration default that they have mentioned. 1,000 for every copy of the default they have to file it. All right, children. Let me see if we have any complicated questions in the descriptive questions. MCQs are very, very important. I hope you don't have any doubt in the MCQs. These remaining sections are very, very simple, children. Section number 20, serving of the document, how you can serve the document on a company by registered post, speed post, courier service. This is the method just of sending the documents by courier to the members or to the company. Then also we had section number 22, authentication of documents. कई बार 3 नंबर का क्वेश्चन section 21 के ऊपर आ जाता है, that who will authenticate means कौन साइन करेगा मेरे डॉक्यूमेंट्स को, प्रोसीडिंग्स को, जो भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स बनाए हैं. की मैनेजरियल पर्सनल कर सकता है या कोई भी ऑफिसर ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ बोर्ड कर सकता है. And what is execution of bills of exchange? Any bills of exchange, hundi, promissory note shall be made, accepted, drawn, or endorsed in favor of the company by any person who is acting under this authority. So this bill of exchange, right, they have given that the company should underwriting under a common seal only. If you don't have a common seal, then who can sign? At least 2 directors or by a director and company secretary. This is must. Either on general or specific matters, they can sign it. So company having a common seal, all these people, if they don't have 2 directors and a company with the company secretary, a director along with CS will sign. In writing, you can authorize any person in India or outside India. Both can be done. Company may or may not have common seal. ये तो आप शुरू से पढ़ते आ ही रहे हो. So there is not any problem in this one. Clear? Any doubts over here? So beautifully, we have completed chapter 1 and chapter 2, but still we have time. Entrenchment, enhanced protection, Modern Furniture Limited, an existing private company, want to insert the provisions of entrenchment. It can do so by passing OR, SR, all members, or making the provision for entrenchment. Tell me, what has to be done? Modern Furniture Limited is a public company. So which is the correct option for this case? Tell me. SR, very good. Second one, you must have done, in case of the reservation of name is made by an existing company, registrar may reserve the name for how many days? 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, 20 days. Third one, the answer for the third one. What is the correct answer for the third one? 60 days, absolutely correct. Very good, Rajveer and Kavya, correct answer. Okay, then ITC Limited changed its name to ITC Limited. Company and officers threat made a default by failing to make the alteration in every copy of memorandum. You have to pick incorrect statements out of the following. Alternation shall be made in every copy of MOA and AOA as these are public documents. Alteration shall be made in every copy in the electronic form. Penalty is 1,000 for every copy. Only second is correct, only third is correct, second and third are correct, none of them are correct. So how will you answer these questions? How will you answer these questions? Very good, Kajal, Kavya, Rajveer. Everybody is giving the correct answer because somehow we have the answers also in the study material that they are given. So very good. I know that even if you don't know, you can check it out over there. But what is the purpose? Why I'm trying to take up this case study MCQ? अब इसको पेपर में कैसे अटेम्प्ट करना? मुझे ये क्वेश्चन आया तो मुझे अब समझ नहीं आ रहा है, कंफ्यूजन हो रही है चॉइस में. हाउ आई हैव टू अटेम्प्ट दिस क्वेश्चन? I will say that the alteration has to be made every copy of MOA. These are public documents means इसका तो कोई फायदा ही नहीं है ना, मतलब इसकी तो कोई बात ही नहीं, हमें तो इनकरेक्ट स्टेटमेंट बता. तो ये तो नॉर्मल सी बात है, पब्लिक डॉक्यूमेंट मतलब ये क्यों इनकरेक्ट होगा? एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म में भी हो सकती है ऑल्टरेशंस. It has not to be considered. Now, generally, what will happen? Children will think about second and third. अभी तो options हैं आपके पास, आंसर है. So आपके दिमाग में second and third क्यों आएगा? क्योंकि आपको पता है 1,000 रुपीज की पेनल्टी होती है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म. अगर आपको एग्जाम में if you get, because you'll be getting 30 marks MCQ, so you have to be very careful in attempting the MCQs, and the major game is of MCQs only. Descriptive questions, if you have revised, you have learned, you have come to know in the revisionary classes also again how to write the case studies, ab kar lo. Then comes your game changer when MCQs come. So my humble request to all of you and a tip for attempting MCQs, read the question and without reading the options, just think what, abhi incorrect statement mein to option padhna hi padna. But agar baki MCQs hai, jaise 60 days, 90 days, hide the answers, don't read the answers, and think what answer comes to your mind while reading the MCQs. Because whenever there are MCQs, no options given, na, it is a general human tendency. We try to check what are the options. And then see intermediate law paper, when you see the options, you get confused. So first, apply your brain, think what answer could be, what possible answer can work for this present MCQ, and then read the options and then try to compare that what you were thinking, does your thinking matches somewhere over here or not. So अगर आप ऐसे करोगे तो always the chances are more of being the correct options being getting picked. All right, so I hope students you have enjoyed the revisionary of chapter 1 and 2, and now we will be meeting most likely on 15th, and we'll be having good revision of chapter number 3 and 4 also. And thank you so much, Mr. Ram, for writing that this class was helpful for you, and thank you for answering all the queries and positive comments. I'm so humbled and felt happy to read your comment, Mr. Ram. Thank you so much, and I really look forward to meet you in the next class also. When to attempt case scenario and how much time to allot to solve it, Rajveer is asking. So Rajveer, the solution for this is, are you asking the exam or for the preparation? How much time for the preparation you're asking, or while you're preparing exam? So you should allot your 3 hours very nicely. You have to distribute your time. I would, in fact, okay, Mr. Sid, that's great. I would suggest that whatever questions that are you can figure out na, aapko direct questions mein pata lag rahe hain, pehle wo kar lo exam, hamesha. Because what happens is, see, MCQs anyways you'll have to do first. So you get the MCQs first, na? So how you have to attempt the case scenarios? First, always put a tick on the direct questions. See, when you get the paper reading time, now you come to know what you know and what you're not remembering. So always try to do the questions that you know first. And case scenarios, specifically, you have asked how much time to allot. Divide it into 3 paragraphs: provisions, facts of the case, conclusion. That's it. But pehle answer dimag mein bana le. Second important tip. See, for example, you have already passed 2.5 hours, you're writing the exam. Half an hour is left and you still have 3 questions to do. Please leave the facts of the case. Facts of the case likhna hai paper mein, provision, facts, analysis, conclusion. But agar if you are running short of the time, pay attention on the provisions of the case. Provision likh kar aana, conclusion लिखना, that's it. If you're running short of time. Okay. Otherwise, you attempt those questions first that you're very well aware about. And don't leave a single question. आपको आता है सब कुछ. You will remember once you see the paper. Okay. Is that fine? So good to go. So I am really looking forward to see you all in the next class. And please revise chapter 3 and 4 before you come for the class so that at least you have a basic idea. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajveer. Thank you, children. And I look forward to meet you on 15th now. Please do revise chapter number 3 and 4. Anybody still having any doubts, you can ask me. Mr. Sid, I hope you're clear about your doubt now. All right. Okay. Yes, sir. I was just looking in the chat box. There are no more doubts. We can end the session, sir.